All right, guys. Holy shit. I never thought that I would live to see a presidential assassination attempt or an ex presidential assassination attempt. But it's been what, 40 plus, 45 years now since president or ex president has been shot. And I mean, this is absolutely surreal. But we're going to leave for this short video, we're going to leave all of the politics at the door. That regardless of what you thought, what your biases or opinions are going into tonight of Trump, Biden, left, right, the election, whatever, it doesn't matter anymore. But what is evident at a time like this is the state of delusion that some people are maintaining in order to continue seeing the world within their happy, coherent little bubble. Because some of the initial reactions I've seen just since simply the video of his ear getting shot has been put out there. It's absolutely surreal to see the mental hoops, the mental gymnastics that are being performed in order to remind everyone of the real quote unquote danger. There's times in life and there are times in this world where something happens, something so significant happens either to you, around you, even just something you observe. But something so real happens that whatever rationalizations or delusions you might have had in your mind leading into that point, you can no longer hide from yourself. And there is too much reality laid bare before you for you to continue to lie to yourself and to others. It's just not possible for most people. I think tonight was that night, was that moment for a lot of people where going into this election cycle, regardless of who you're voting for, Trump or Biden, it's starting to look like maybe if you're, just a regular person that's sitting at home, living a busy life, trying to provide for people and taking care of your own responsibilities, I think you would want to be able to rely on a honest journalistic community and media community to concisely relay to you the information you need to know in order to be an informed citizen. And in reality, that's what you should expect, especially in a day when we have the access to the information we do. But I think there are a lot of people over these past few weeks, especially, they've been paying attention a little bit more to what's going on around them and what they're seeing on TV. And they're starting to ask, like, I wonder if maybe these people who claim to have our best interest and these people who claim to be speaking on our behalf and looking out for our rights and so called democracy, I'm starting to think that they might be lying to us for motives other than the ones we just mentioned. Pure benevolence and integrity, stopping the scourges of democracy and stopping the threats to our country as a whole. Yeah, okay, all right, whatever. You can say that a few times, but it gets to a point where you can't spin reality as far as you want to. You can't spin reality to an unlimited degree. And at some point, there's going to be a backlash. It's going to catch up with you and it's going to sting like a bitch. And that is what is going to happen to the legacy media over the next 48 hours to perhaps 6 months, based on the series of events leading up to tonight. And the only reason I turned on my microphone tonight is because I made the mistake of tuning into CNN to see what they had to say. Even though it's CNN, you want to give this channel the benefit of the doubt that maybe we'll see some grace tonight. Maybe we will put the partisanship to the side and have a collective moment of human empathy and understanding and reminder that getting to a point like this is not good. I'm curious about the number of times I've said the word unintended consequences over the last couple weeks on this channel. And it's the ultimate irony because I couldn't think of a greater, more powerful, more effective unintended consequence to the one we saw just a couple hours ago. And there's too much information yet to be released for us to do a full analysis on what occurred. But I was watching the CNN newsroom, and uh, the segment ended. I wish I could rewind. It won't. It doesn't let me. But I basically just heard Wolf Blitzer, both sides, the issue of political rhetoric and violence. And if you're at the point where you're 2 hours removed from the first presidential assassination attempt in since 1981, and your initial reaction is to both sides it and say, well, we can't forget about Trump's rhetoric. We can't forget about the danger that he poses to America. That is a willful delusion that is going to feel like a four-handed bitch slap to a large number of people who were clinging on to some degree of journalistic integrity that they thought these media outlets possessed. But that is gone. You hear something like that, it's completely gone. You hear Wolf Blitzer on CNN in a panel trying to make sure that the political equation is balanced out and that, oh, despite the fact that, maybe someone got shot tonight, oh, well, we have to remind everyone, what the real threat is. And we have to remind everyone not to get distracted by something like this, some small minor inconvenience like this occurring. I don't know, man. It gets to a point where people aren't that stupid. I'm sorry. People are not that stupid. And it's tough. I don't know what kind of circles of affirmation you have to find yourself in order to get to this point where you're still saying this stuff. And screw it. Let's just
watching. This occurred around 6:15 p.m. in Butler County in Pennsylvania. Let's watch.
No, that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old, and if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
Jesus Christ. This shit is crazy. Did someone get hit? I have to find out if someone got hit.
Move it fair. Hold. When you're ready. On you. Ready. Move. Up. Move. Go. Up. Hawkeye's here. Hawkeye's here. Move it to the stair. Stair, get ready. We ready?
Oh my god. Someone died.
Are we good? Shooter's down. Shooter's down. Are we good to move? We're clear.
I think a person died. That changes this completely. If either someone hired or someone of their own volition decided they were going to try to assassinate Trump and killed an innocent person, you could not imagine a more absurd irony, a more tragic yet unbelievably comical, devastatingly tragic. I don't have the words to describe what this is, but it should be like a lightning bolt for a lot of people who might have been unsure of what's happening lately. And I just encourage all you guys to pay attention to what people are saying over the next 48 hours to a week, and use your own eyes, ears, and senses and cognitive faculties to make some judgments for yourself.
Clear. We're clear.
I can't believe someone died, man. That's horrible.
Let me get my shoes.
I got you, sir.
Let me get my shoes, sir.
Hold that in your head. It's bloody.
So we got to move to the bus. Let me get my shoes.
Okay, my shoes down. My shoes.
Watch out.
Yeah. That's a pretty strong image, regardless of like what you believe politically. This is so surreal. I feel so bad for that family.
As I said, former President Trump has put out a statement saying, I want to thank the United States Secret Service and all of law enforcement for their rapid response in the shooting that just took place in Butler,
Yep.
Pennsylvania. Most importantly, I want to extend my condolences to the family of the person at the rally who was killed and also to the family of another person that was badly injured. It is incredible that such an act can take place in our country. Nothing is known at this time about the shooter, who's now dead. I was shot with a bullet that pierced the upper part of my right ear. I knew immediately that something was wrong and that I heard a whizzing sound, shots, and immediately felt the bullet ripping through the skin. Much bleeding took place, so I realized then what was happening. God bless America, he wrote. CNN's chief medical correspondent, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, is a trauma neurosurgeon. He joins us now.
So one person was killed and one person was seriously injured because another person pulled a Raskolnikov from Crime and Punishment and thought that they had the correct moral foundation for doing something like this. You guys read Crime and Punishment. It's a long book, one of the top 5 books ever written, in my opinion. And reading something like that in light of an incident like this, that'll expand your mind, I promise you.
If the bullet pierced the upper part of his ear, that is extraordinarily close to a shot that could have killed him.
No shit, Anderson.
Yeah, no doubt. And even though it appears that it was mostly the ear and the soft tissue around the ear, and that's why the medical team has to be so thorough.
Yeah, Sanjay, I appreciate it. Thank you. I want to go back to Wolf.
Yeah, and let's not forget that Trump is in his late 70s right now, and he's an elderly man that could have an impact on his recovery from all of this as well. Anderson, thank you very much. We have some new video.
You know, he's planting the seed for Trump being now physically unfit to run for office because of the new injury to his upper right ear.
To CNN right now. I want to show it to our viewers. Video of a motorcade leaving Butler Memorial Hospital, where the former president was cared for. We do not know if he was in it. CNN's Betsy Klein is on the scene for us over there. What do you?
Everything about that person's background to find out any political beliefs, obviously anything that could explain the motivations, given the fact that we do not have a suspect alive now at this point, according to the Secret Service. So now the work is going to be done the hard way, Anderson, which is to gather evidence from that person's background.
So, Evan, just briefly, let me just clarify.
And you know that these anchors are praying to the Lord that if there was a motivation, which obviously there was, leading up to attempting to do something this insane, you know there's a very real fear that that motivation will be observably tracked back to the very sources and the very outlets that are propping up this massive scapegoat.
It's one rally goer killed, and now you've learned others have been wounded. That's correct?
Were wounded. That's according to the Secret Service.
You're joining us here in New York, presidential historian. Obviously, this is not something. There was the attack on Steve Scalise. We have seen, obviously, a number of threats that have been intercepted by law enforcement over the years, but probably not since Ronald Reagan at the presidential level has this occurred.
Not since Ronald Reagan, but I want to read you something that I think is as powerful today as it was the first time it was written. Tonight, this nation faces once again the consequences of lawlessness, hatred, and unreason in its midst. It would be wrong, it would be self-deceptive to ignore the connection between that lawlessness and hatred and this act of violence.
Facts.
That was Lyndon Johnson in June of 1968.
He's saying facts.
A few years later, another presidential candidate was attacked. In 1972, George Wallace was gunned down. He survived, but he was paralyzed. We have had very violent political contests before. And it's something we ought to remember. We are capable of this as a nation. The people who do it, of course, are outliers, but they are a product of the extremism and the anger and the hatred that sometimes pulses through our elections. So tonight is a terrible reminder of another period in our history, but it's something that seems to be bred in the bone. And I can understand Scott's anger and sadness. I feel it too. I feel it for everyone. I feel it for everyone in our country because the gunman attacked democracy. When you use a gun to eliminate a choice for the American people, you are shooting democracy. You are playing God. And this is not the first time it has been done in our history. I hope it's the last, but one cannot say. But it is one of those moments when we are reminded that our democracy is fragile and that we as a people need to come together, understand that our past has been violent, and recognize that we have to stand up now and try to end the violence. This is a wake-up call.
Yeah, I could not have articulated it better than he just did, and I'm surprised those words were allowed to be uttered on air live on CNN. I couldn't
Also
have said
joining
it
us
better.
is CNN senior political commentator
No
David
response
Axelrod.
from
David, your
Anderson
thoughts?
Cooper. No response from Anderson Cooper. He didn't say a word.
In addition to how close we came to an assassination of the candidate here, were the people who were attending this rally. You know, my initiation into politics was at a political rally when I was 5 years old. John F. Kennedy. That is see this as a recurring event.
David, from the President of the United States, Joe Biden has, we're told the campaign has stopping TV ads for the time being. I mean, the convention, the Republican convention is supposed to begin on Monday. Unclear if this will impact that one way or the other.
It'll impact
and I guess
that.
impossible at this point to know, where the campaigns go. Does the tone and the tenor shift? Obviously, there's going to be, a lot of finger pointing.
It's impossible to know, Anderson. Do you have any guesses? You've taken the liberty of making a lot of assumptions over the past 10 years. Maybe you can make one assumption tonight about what this really means for the country and for your legacy media. Like what that oh my
A lot
God.
of vitriol, and I'm not sure
I'm
any
sorry.
sign that will end.
This is crazy.
No, I mean, there's so much at stake in this, in any election, and certainly in this election. And it's been a pretty bitter election to start with. And I don't know actually where it goes from here, Anderson. I mean, eventually the campaign will resume. But the fact that this happened on the doorstep of a convention has to change the nature of that convention in some way.
Yep.
The fact that I mean, I'm sure the president, assuming that he is up to attending, and I assume he will be greeted, as a kind of martyr of this event. And it will, and I think it could be angrier or it could be more somber, but it's certainly not going to be the same.
Senior political commentator David Axelrod, presidential historian Tim Neftali. Thank you. Wolf, back to you.
Anderson, I want to go to CNN's Randy Kay. She's just outside of Trump Tower in Manhattan in New York right now. What are you seeing there, Randy?
Well, Wolf and Anderson really don't want to give their commentary, and the looks on their faces is that of resembling death. So we're going to probably wrap up this video, but goodness gracious, man. We're going to see some crazy stuff happen over the next 48 hours, and hope you guys are able to strap in and enjoy the ride.